On this I'm getting excited. On this episode of the podcast, I'm going to be talking about using Reaper, and we'll get into why, because why not? Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Luke Who's Talking podcast with me, Luke. How are you doing out there? How are you going? I don't know how I'm doing. Actually, you know what? I'm doing fine. I'm 100% okay. And I hope you are too. Yeah. Anyway, let's get into the first story here for you. So, oh my. I don't like this. I'm using Reaper, to record the podcast because I built myself a new PC. Well, when I say I built myself a new PC, a friend of mine came over and pretty much built the PC whilst I looked on because anyway, so I've got myself a new PC. Oh, I'm an idiot. That's what I was going to do. I was going to get me specs up and I was going to say, oh, this is me specs, but whatever. So, I built myself a new PC. I'd like to thank the eldest bro for choosing the bits and pieces for me. Anyway, so I've got a AMD Ryzen 5 3600. We've got 16 gigabytes of delicious Corsair RAM, an MSI X570 motherboard, I think it is, and also an MSI 1660 Ti graphics card with 6 gigabytes of video RAM. I've got a 500 gigabyte Crucial M.2 drive, which has got the OS and all the programs on it. I've just got a 2 terabyte Seagate excuse me, hard drive, which has got all the other. Actually, it's just got various files on it, and also I had a 240 gig SanDisk SSD, which I've had for a very long time, and I put that in the computer as well because why not? So so I got myself a PC. Now, something that I've struggled with a little bit is because on the Mac, because I was using an Apple previously, I was using GarageBand to record the podcast. Quick, easy, simple, looks like a toy. I knew how to use it. Anyway, but of course now coming over onto the Windows machine, I can't use that, and I was in a real situation as to what program to use. And I've currently got Reaper. However, it's just a trial version. I don't think they have a full, an indefinite free version. So I may have to, so I don't know. Going forward, I don't know what program I'm going to use. I mean, I could buy a Reaper license and not be tight. However, I have a question for you listeners out there. Can you help me with this? What do you use to record and edit your podcast? And is there something that I could get, maybe say a video editor, for example, that I could get where I can record, I can do the podcast, do audio, yet also edit video in it. Now, I know that Stephen John Drew, Mr. SJ, from Better Podcasting, and also SP, Stargate Pioneer from Better Podcasting, they use Magic's movie studio. So that's a video editor, but they also do their audio, or at least Stephen does his audio in it as well. So that may be worth me looking into, I suppose. So instead of maybe having two programs, is there one I can get? I know Heather from Sunshine Power Cut, she told me that she's recently got onto DaVinci. So Heather, is DaVinci something that you use or can use to do audio in as well? Because DaVinci is a video editor. So, I did attempt to use Pro Tools, but when I wanted to import my MP3 jingles, it was like, oh no, you've got to have QuickTime installed for that. So I've given up on Avid. Pro Tools has gone off the computer. I had Media Composer installed as well. I shafted that, so I'm done with Avid, at least at this point, because I couldn't I was like, I'll use Pro Tools because that's what we use at my work. However, I just had problems. It wasn't that easy for me anyway, so I was quite annoyed. Like, I would be onto the Adobe software for sure if they didn't have a dumb subscription. I mean, maybe if I was, say, doing the podcast, doing the audio and doing video content and being able to get a little bit of revenue from that, I would use that money to pay for the subscription, but I'm not doing that. That's not happening. So, yeah. Track Nation is also something that's been suggested to me. But if there is one program I can get that I can do audio and also video in, I consolidate to one program. If there's one out there that exists, tweet me or send me an email with that program, please. Thank you. So, on the weekend, so last Saturday, I went for a bicycle ride, and I managed to clock up 54 Ks. Really long stuff. Anyway, so I did a huge big loop, and I pretty much from where I started at my brother's place. He lives out in the country, so I started there and did a big loop around. Anyway, so I got going. Everything was fine. I tell you what, I went down this bit of straight road, and it just seemed to last forever and ever and ever. This bit of road, you're going down a bit of road, and you're like, it's just down here. It'll be over soon. Nah, this road that I went down, it just lasted forever and ever and ever. And I'm riding down like, is this road ever going to end? It eventually did. Thank goodness. So I went for a bike ride. Anyway, I almost broke twice on this road. I got to about the 37 K mark, and I was riding along, and I had to go negotiate a bit of a hill. Now, the hill, honestly, not really that steep, but I had to go up a bit of a hill. And as I was, as I was going up it, I was thinking, this is tough. This is a bit tricky. But the thing is, I couldn't stop because I had to ride back to where I started because my brother wasn't home. And if I stopped, I couldn't call him or anybody to be like, so can you come and pick me up? I'm at this place. So I had to keep going. Anyway, so I got up, negotiated that bit of a hill, and continued on. Anyway, then once again, it was about 10 Ks later, I got to another hill. So it was about the 48 kilometre mark. I got to another hill, and I was totally spent. I had nothing left. I was 100%. Well, I was pretty much done by this point. So I was going up this hill, and really, it's not really that steep. I feel that I would easily be able to get up it if I hadn't already done 47 kilometres of riding. So I started going up this hill, and the bike was in the lowest gear it could go. It was as low as it could go, and my little computer was telling me I was doing about 5 Ks, I think. And I was in one of those situations where I thought, if I go any slower, I'm not going to be able to stay upright. I'm just going to fall over. But luckily that didn't happen. And I got up this bit of a hill, and then, what goes up must come down. So, of course, on the other side, there was a bit of a downhill, which was nice. So I rolled down the hill, and which was good. So I was able to recover, and I had some crackers. Are they water crackers? I had some crackers in my pocket, so I had a couple of them, and had a drink. and I was able to negotiate the next sort of 5 or so kilometres back to the end point. But oh my goodness, I was in all sorts. At least at the last climb, I was in all sorts, and I thought, I couldn't stop. I had to keep riding and get back to where I'd started. So I was in a bit of a position where I was like, I can't stop at all. I have to get back to where I started this ride. Anyway, so I got back and just sat down on a park bench. My brother's got a park bench in his yard, so I just sat on that for a bit and had a bit of trail mix. I had me some trail mix and recovered, which was pretty good. So yeah. Anyway, and that means, as I mentioned, it's whatever episode it would have been the first one of the year, or when I was talking about goals. That now takes me to 47%, I think, of my cycling goal of 1,000 kilometres this year. So I've done about 470 odd kilometres of riding this year. And when I reach 500, that means I get to buy myself a new kit, so a new cycling sort of jersey and shorts or whatever else I need, because I've been setting myself some little goals. Once I've ridden so many kilometres, I get to buy this or get this for a bike. Once I ride, so many more kilometres, I get this. So sort of, I think 250 kilometres, I think it was new shoes, for example, and then like 200 kilometres or whatever was new pedals, and 100 k's was like a pair of sunglasses, blah, blah, blah. So I've set myself sort of these little goals as I'm going along, and then I'm able to get a little bit more, or upgrade kit, I suppose you could say. Yeah. Anyway, we'll be back after this to wrap things up. So I said we'll be back after this to wrap things up. That's actually a lie, but I've got one quick little story for you. So back last episode, I mentioned how I pulled a manoeuvre that had the dog do his leavings on on a magazine I'd slid under his bottom skillfully. Anyway, so so this is just a dog update, an update on the old dog. Good old Tex, his name is. So it's a Tex date. So we the other week we took Tex down to the vet because he's getting on. His age is an interesting point of debate because we're not really sure how old he is. We know he is at least probably 17. Well, okay, he's at least 15 years old because we found a picture of him the other day from 2005 and he looked a couple of years old. So he's probably 16, 17. So he's an old dog. He's getting on. I don't know what that is in dog years, but he is getting on. So we took him to the vet, and he had a checkup and whatever else. Now there's something he's good at barking and barking at nothing and barking for no apparent reason. So we asked the vet about this, and the diagnosis is he's got a little bit of doggy dementia. So that's why he sort of barks a bit, and apparently that's a thing. So at least in the particular breed that Tex is, when dogs they bark, they have a bit of doggy dementia. So which is also, interesting because what will happen is he'll be barking, and you might go up to him and say, what are you barking about? And he will be quite surprised and sort of startled at you. He'll be like, oh, like that, like you've snuck up on him, but you've walked over. You could be like, as you walk over, and you'll be like, Tex, what are you doing? And he'll be, oh, look at you, like he's shocked and surprised you're there. So he must just be in his own little world. I don't know if he thinks that he's barking at sheep or something like that, for example, but he is most definitely gets in his own little world, and he's like, oh, like very surprised and sort of startled when you come over to him. at times, which is very bizarre. And he'll stand at the gate and bark, or he'll be laying down in front of his kennel and he'll just be barking. You're like, why? But his little brain's gone, his little head's gone, which is a bit of a shame. But he's still kicking on. He's always happy to see you. Whenever you walk over to him or you see him, the tail gets a wag, so he's always happy to see you. Well, that is it, everybody, for this episode of the podcast. I hope you're all doing well out there with the current, world situation, which I think, side rant, I'm absolutely surprised that people have to be reminded to wash their hands. It's like it's a revolutionary concept. Wash your hands. Plot twist, it's not, because as you know, if you listen to episode 31 of mine, a bit more personal, as a result of what's discussed in that episode, I've always somebody who's washed my hands and been wary of cross-infection and all that stuff. So this is just okay. It's not a big deal, really, for me. Anyway, not to play down situation, because people are dying. Anyway, look, that's it for this episode of the podcast. This is Reaper. I hope it goes well. I'm very nervous about getting into the editing stage. Anyway, yeah, and as mentioned earlier, if you have a suggestion of a program that I can do audio in and also video, please let me know. You can send me an email, lukewho'stalkingpod@gmail.com. Pretty sure that's what it is. Or you can tweet me, L_who's_talking, or I'm on various Discord servers. I don't have one myself, but hey, what's the matter you? Hey, anyway, I'll catch you next time. Bye.